My name is Nora, and I'll never forget the morning my world turned upside down. I was standing in my Seattle apartment, staring at my reflection in an emerald green dress, trying to summon the courage to face my family. My best friend Zara burst through the door, her eyes wide with that look she gets when she's sniffed out trouble. "You're not gonna believe this," she said, barely catching her breath. "I just overheard your mom downstairs, gushing about some big surprise for Lila at her engagement party tonight. Something about securing her future." My stomach twisted like a knot. I knew exactly what my mother, Vivian, was capable of. Years of her sharp words and sharper schemes had taught me that. But this felt different, like a betrayal dressed up in a party toast. I'm not the golden child of my family. That's my sister, Lila. Growing up in our sprawling Seattle suburb home, I was the one who never quite fit. While Lila was molded into Mom's vision of perfection, poised, engaged to a suitable man, always the star of every social event, I was the rebel who dared to dream bigger. I started a sustainable fashion startup after college, pouring my heart into it despite Mom's endless jabs that it was a waste of time. She'd always favored Lila, parading her achievements while dismissing mine. My grandfather, though, saw something in me. He left a trust fund with strict conditions, prove myself with a master's degree or a profitable business. I'd done both, but Mom never let me forget I was still the family disappointment. That morning, as Zara's words sank in, I grabbed my clutch, double-checking the legal documents tucked inside. My lawyer, Theo Carter, had warned me to be ready. Theo's been in my corner since my startup's early days, a friend who knows what it's like to fight for what's yours after his own family was burned by financial deceit. "Did you see Theo yet?" I asked Zara, my voice steady despite the storm brewing inside. "He's already at the hotel, looking like he's ready to take on the world in that gray suit," she replied, smirking. I forced a smile, but it was cold, calculated. Good, because I've got a surprise of my own planned. The drive to the waterfront hotel where Lila's engagement party was being held felt like heading into battle. Storm clouds loomed over Puget Sound, mirroring the tension coiling in my chest. I'd spent years swallowing Mom's insults, her subtle ways of pitting Lila against me. But tonight was different. Tonight, I wasn't just the black sheep showing up to play nice. I was ready to fight for what was mine, and I had a feeling the truth was about to unravel everything. The hotel ballroom glittered with chandeliers reflecting off polished wood floors, the air thick with the scent of white roses, Lila's favorite. My sister stood at the center of the crowd, radiant in a white dress, her engagement ring sparkling as she laughed with her fiancé, Joseph. Mom hovered nearby, her smile as polished as the crystal flutes being passed around. I clutched my glass a little tighter, weaving through the sea of Seattle's elite, their whispers trailing me like shadows. "Still chasing that little clothing line, dear?" my Aunt Amelia asked, her tone dripping with pity. "You know, my friend's son is a lawyer, stable job." My cousin Ryan chimed in, "Heard your startup's barely breaking even. Should have gone corporate." I kept my answers short, my eyes scanning for Theo's signal. Zara stayed close, her presence grounding me as Mom worked the room, dropping hints about her big announcement. Every smile she flashed felt like a jab, a reminder of the years she dismissed me while propping Lila up as the perfect daughter. Lila, for her part, played the role flawlessly. "Nora, you actually came," she said, gliding over with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "That green dress, bold choice. It's a bit washed out on you, don't you think?" Joseph shifted uncomfortably beside her, his eyes meeting mine for a split second too long. Was that guilt I saw, or something else? I spotted Theo across the room, his nod subtle but clear. Everything was in place. "You look stunning, Lila," I said, keeping my voice smooth. "Congrats on the engagement." She grabbed Joseph's arm, her grip possessive. "We're so blessed, aren't we, darling?" Joseph's smile was tight, his absolutely lacking conviction. My heart pounded, not from nerves, but from the fire building inside me. I'd spent too long letting Mom and Lila's barb slide, too long pretending their words didn't cut. Tonight, that ended. Then Mom clinked her glass, drawing every eye in the room. "Everyone, please gather round. she called, her voice syrupy with pride. I have wonderful news about Lila's future. The crowd hushed, and Theo moved closer to me, his folder ready. As you know, Mom continued, my father left a trust fund for his grandchildren, believing in investing in those who uphold family values. Her eyes found mine, sharp and deliberate. Today, I'm thrilled to announce we'll be using those funds to buy Lila and Joseph their dream home, a perfect start for the perfect couple. Applause erupted. Lila squealed, but Joseph's face stayed neutral, his jaw tight. My fingers gripped the documents in my clutch, the paper crinkling under my touch. Mom wasn't done. Of course, this means adjusting the original distribution, she said, her gaze locked on me. But I'm sure Nora understands her sister's needs come first. The room went quiet, eyes darting to me, some pitying, others smug. Zara squeezed my arm, but I was already stepping forward, my heart a drumbeat of resolve. This was my moment, and I wasn't about to let it slip away. Actually, Vivian, I said, my voice cutting through the ballroom's silence like a blade, I think it's time we clarify the real terms of grandfather's trust. I nodded to Theo, who stepped forward, his folder open, exuding calm authority. Mom's smile faltered, just for a second, before snapping back into place. Darling, this isn't the time for dramatics, she said, her tone light but her eyes blazing. We can discuss this privately. I gestured to the crowd. You made it public when you announced your plans for my trust fund. So, let's keep it transparent, shall we? Lila stepped forward, her dress rustling. Nora, you're embarrassing yourself.
Stop it.
But Theo's voice was steady, professional. I believe Miss Nora has every right to address this, given the circumstances. Mom's disdain was palpable. And who are you? Theo Carter, legal counsel, he replied, holding up a document. I'm here to clarify the terms of the trust fund established for Nora. Paragraph 4, page 2. The beneficiary gains full control upon completing a master's degree in business or running a profitable company for 2 years. Nora has done both. The room buzzed with whispers. Aunt Amelia's hand flew to her throat, and Cousin Ryan froze mid-sip. That's impossible, Lila snapped. Grandfather would never. It's all here, Theo interjected, his tone unshakable. Authenticated by First National's trust administrators. They're expecting her call, Vivian. Mom's face went from red to white. Those documents could be forged, she said, her voice thin. We'll need our own lawyers. By all means, Theo replied smoothly. But the evidence is clear. I turned to Mom, my voice steady despite the anger burning in my chest. Did you already make promises with that money, Vivian? Deposits to realtors, maybe? Her silence was deafening. Lila's composure cracked. You said it was all arranged, the house, the renovations, our wedding gift. Mom's voice was weak. Nora was never going to use it properly, wasting it on that silly startup. My profitable startup, I corrected, the word sharp. The one you called a hobby. The one that met grandfather's conditions while you tried to steal what was mine. Zara handed me a drink, her eyes gleaming with pride as the crowd's whispers grew louder. She said she had authority. Someone muttered. Been planning that house for months. My dad finally spoke, his voice hoarse. Vivian, tell me you didn't commit funds you don't control. Mom's silence was answer enough. The tension in the room was suffocating, but I felt alive, every nerve humming with purpose. Then I pulled out another document, my trump card. Explain this, Vivian, I said, holding it up. A loan application with my forged signature, submitted last month. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Mom swayed, and Dad grabbed her arm to steady her. That's enough, he said, but I wasn't done. No, Dad. For once, it's not enough. The truth was just beginning to unravel, and I was ready to pull every thread. The next day, I sat across from Lila in a downtown Seattle cafe, the hum of the city muffled by the glass walls. Her designer handbag sat like a barrier between us, her perfect makeup barely hiding the shadows under her eyes. You're late, she snapped as I settled into the chair. Actually, I'm right on time, I said, my voice calm but pointed. You're early. Nervous? She ignored me, her fingers twitching. Stop this investigation, Nora.
Now.
I raised an eyebrow.
Or what?
You'll tell everyone about my college breakdown? The one where I worked 3 jobs because Vivian drained my tuition fund? Her jaw tightened. You're destroying our family. No, I said, pulling out a folder. You and Vivian did that. Speaking of, what's this? I slid a document across the table. Proof of Lila's affair with Derek Walsh, a city council member tied to Vivian's property scams. Hotel receipts, photos, texts. Lila's face drained of color. You're lying. Does Joseph know you were sleeping with Derek when he proposed? I asked, leaning forward. Was it just for fun, or was it part of Vivian's plan? Lila's voice was a hiss. You don't understand. Derek has influence, connections. Vivian said it was strategic. I froze. Strategic? She told you to betray Joseph for profit? Lila's eyes darted away. She found Joseph, vetted his family's connections. It was all arranged. He thinks we met by chance at a charity gala, but Vivian orchestrated everything. I sat back, stunned. And you went along with it? Why not? Lila's voice cracked. You got grandfather's love, his trust fund, his faith in your business. I got Vivian's plans, her pressure to be perfect. For a moment, I saw the weight she carried, the fear of never being enough. But pity didn't erase her choices. You had options, Lila. You chose to forge documents, steal from charities, cheat on Joseph, while helping Vivian defraud our family. My phone buzzed, Zara, warning me Vivian was in the cafe's lobby. I grabbed another paper from Lila's spilled handbag before she could stop me. What's this? I scanned it, my heart stopping. Grandfather's original will? The trust was supposed to be split equally between us. Lila's voice was barely a whisper. Vivian said you'd waste it. She convinced him to change it, made you prove yourself while I got my half free. Except she kept that too for her schemes. Tears smeared her mascara. She played us both. Before I could respond, Vivian stormed in, her face twisted with rage. Selena stopped talking. Lila flinched, and I saw it. Fear, not of me, but of her. We're going to Theo's office, I said, standing. Now. As we slipped out the back, Vivian's voice echoed behind us. At Theo's office, Lila's confession poured out. Property deals, forged signatures, Derek's involvement. Then Vivian burst in, slapping Lila before Theo restrained her. You ungrateful snake, she hissed. Lila stood, trembling. You used me, Vivian. My whole life, you made me your puppet. Even Joseph was your scheme. You paid him to choose me over Nora. The room spun as Lila revealed Vivian doubled her offer to Joseph after he connected with me at that gala. Then Vivian's purse spilled, revealing USB drives. Theo plugged one in, his eyes widening. Blackmail material, he said. She's been collecting dirt on everyone in her social circle. Vivian sagged, defeated, as police sirens sounded outside. The truth had caught up, and the reckoning was here. 3 days later, we gathered in Dad's study in our Seattle suburb home, the air heavy with the fallout of Vivian's schemes. She sat in an armchair, her designer polish gone, replaced by a hollow exhaustion. Dad stood by the window, looking like he'd aged a decade. Theo laid it out. The police have everything: property fraud, charity embezzlement, forged documents. Arrests are coming. Aunt Amelia stepped forward, her voice sharp. You stole my divorce settlement, Vivian. I had to remortgage my house. Lila, staying with me since her confession, cut in. Stop lying, Vivian. Just tell the truth. Vivian's face hardened. The truth? I made this family what it is, our status, our connections. I held up a USB drive. Through blackmail? Should we show everyone what's on these? Joseph, who'd insisted on being there, spoke up. Does that include why you paid me to date Lila instead of Nora? Dad's face went ashen. You did what? Vivian's excuses crumbled. It was for the best. Nora's independence would have ruined everything. Lila shouted, I was terrified every day of disappointing you. Do you know what that's like? Theo continued, the DA's eyeing insider trading charges, potentially 15 to 20 years. Vivian swayed, her composure gone. I can fix this. I have leverage. Your blackmail's with the authorities, I said. Your society friends will love learning about your secrets. The doorbell rang. Police cars lined the driveway. Officers entered, reading Vivian her rights. She turned to Lila, pleading, "Tell them it's a mistake." Lila stood beside me. "Goodbye, Vivian." As they led her away, Joseph asked, "What now?" "We fix what she broke," I said, looking at Lila. "Us included?" she asked, her voice small. I saw not the sister who tormented me, but another victim of Vivian's control. "We can try," I said, taking her hand. "No more lies." Dad cleared his throat. "Your grandfather would be proud of you both." A courier arrived with a package from grandfather's law firm, containing a letter for me and Lila. I read it aloud. "My dearest girls, if you're reading this, the truth is out. Vivian's manipulation was clear to me, but opposing her directly would have trapped you further. I gave you different tools. Nora, the challenge to grow strong. Lila, the freedom to learn from mistakes. I'm sorry for the pain, but together, you can rebuild something real." The enclosed key opens a safety deposit box with documents about your grandmother, Vivian's mother. Understanding her obsession may help you break the cycle. Love, grandfather. Lila wiped tears away. He knew and trusted us to figure it out. To break free together, I said, raising my glass. To truth, healing, and writing our own story. To my YouTube audience, thank you for joining me on this journey. Exposing the truth wasn't easy, but it freed us to rebuild something honest. If my story resonates, share yours. Let's keep shining light on what matters.